Okay, here we are. Purpose of today's flight, we're uploaded version 15 of the SkyView software, and it's added a few significant things. One is an acronym for HITS, H-I-T-S, which means highway in the sky, which in theory means I will get little rectangles along my course route to keep me on, I believe, on course, but not necessarily on altitude, because I've not entered any kind of VNAV, no altitudes that I wanted, so I guess it's just going to be another way of following the purple line. It also now has the ability to add a horizontal guidance into an airport. It's basically a fake ILS. Basically what I told it is I want to be at 400 feet, about a mile from the airport, and I want to come down at a 3-degree glide slope. So we have here the approach plate for Madison County. It's a VFR day, and I am IFR rated, but haven't been current for years and years and years. So it's this is just for pretend, and it'll be VFR the whole way. So what we're going to do is
4 Quebec Foxtrot, runway 22, clear for the option, on the go, left close traffic.
We're going to fly to the initial approach fix at Akpuk at 2,700 feet, and then that'll put us on our course to Fofwi, F-O-F-W-I. And actually after Akpuk, we should be able to follow that 3-degree, it says right here, it's a 3-degree glide slope angle. We'll see how well that works out. Should be able to fly that right down to Jadmu, which is as low as we'll go, because it's not truly an ILS and I'm not truly instrument rated. So we'll make Jadmu our, basically we see the runway or we don't, and go around from there. So that's the plan. We'll see how it goes. Been a while since I've flown, so actually just getting comfortable in the airplane again is some of the point of this as well. And of course, talking on the radio is the first thing to go. I'll be kind of stumbling on the radio, I'm sure. Second thing to go is remembering how to use the autopilot and all the SkyView stuff. So those are the things that need the most refresher in this particular airplane. The flying of the airplane is dirt simple and just not that big of a deal, and you don't tend to forget it like I did in the RV6, or at least get nervous about it. That was a tail dragger, so if I went 4 or 5 weeks without flying it, I got a little nervous about it. This airplane, quite easy to fly, which can be an invitation to complacency. So that is something, when you move down to a simpler airplane, you really have to pay attention to, that you don't get overconfident and careless. I had that problem in my Tampico, which is why I moved to something a little more challenging like the RV6. But with this airplane, it's really the complexity of the helper, the accessories. You don't really have to use anything more than direct to on this thing. You don't even have to do that. You can use it for airspeed and altitude. But it's tremendously capable. I intend on taking some longer flights now. I have a lot more time, and I've got a couple hundred hours in this airplane now, 217.5. I should be able to get beyond the boundaries of Ohio now and then.
Bolt tower, experimental tweet for Delta Golf, taxi to take off.
284 Delta Golf, rolling ground, runway 22 taxi via taxiway Bravo Alpha, wind 20, crushing wind 290 at 9 air, gust to 14, altimeter is 3001.
Taxi to runway 22 Bravo via Alpha 4 Delta Golf.
Pretty ACS 2021, so, or 3001. Bang, bang, that's that. And David North taxiing at 22, which is a piece of cake. That's the short way. And the winds are a little gusty, but it's like, well, it's pretty much a 90-degree crosswind, but they're not super bad. It's just light gusts. And ceiling is kind of hazy and indistinct, but we're not going all that high anyway.
100 Lima Delta, Bon Tower, we're out on 71, the altimeter is 3001.
Yeah, it could be anywhere.
Roger.
Tremendous amount of traffic up around whatever that is. OSU. Okay, that'll be students. It's a school day, and they have an aviation program at the Ohio State University. That's probably a bunch of Ohio State students flying around. Alright, everything's in the green. Airplane is looking like it's ready to go.
0 Lima Delta, roger.
And always. So we'll get our run up out of the way. That should be endless. Yeah, I can feel a little bit of that wind from behind. I'll just kicks the elevator around a little bit. Okay, here we go. Our run up. Quick scan here. Everything is set for takeoff. Good. Good, running smooth. Real smooth. Okay, controls. Fuel pump is something we always check.
Runway 22, clear for the option.
Alright. And now we want to make our final check of the canopy latch. Everything is good. Everything is gold. Everything, the spar light's not on. Everything green. Over the tower. We're ready to go, and I'm going to tell them we're departing. What are we heading about? VFR westbound, I think, isn't it? Yeah, due west. Okay.
Full tower, experimental tweet for Delta Golf, ready for takeoff, runway 4, departing VFR westbound.
284 Delta Golf, Bowling Tower, continue, hold short, runway 22.
Hold short 224 Delta Golf.
Oh yeah, he's further along than I thought he was. Probably called midfield. But he's slow, we could easily have made that out, but it's okay. Give us more time to pay attention, to look at our plan here. So we want them on 123.0, that's our Unicom. That all set, so we don't have to fiddle with it later. And we're going to go to Acapulco, and I want to be there at 2,700 feet, so let's go ahead and set 2,700 feet into our target altitude for the autopilot. Whether we choose to use it or not, we can go and turn on the flight director. And we're going to take a heading of just about west. There we go. Oh, that should give me good flight direction. And here comes our landing traffic. Should pass right in front of us. Here he comes. Very high flare, very high flare.
Cardinal 100, Lima Delta, departing towards Cincinnati.
Quite a bounce.
100 Lima Delta, you can proceed on course, frequency change approved.
0 Lima Delta.
Finally got that on the ground. It was a touch.
4 Delta Golf, turn right on course, runway 22, clear for takeoff, Cessna on the go, left close traffic.
Clear for takeoff, runway 22, right on course, traffic is going to be close pattern left, and that's 4 Delta Golf.
Wow, a lot to say. Ooh, making some heat. Do something about that. Hot in here. There we go. Woo, a little gusty. Just a bit gusty. There we go.
Pressure. Fuel pressure.
Fuel pressure is high. No, low. That's interesting because I got a full tank. Usually, full tank, I get a high pressure warning. There, it's up to 4 point something now. It's doing fine. Alright, we want nav and altitude and up. Let's see what that does to the flight director. Just do one damn thing. That's interesting. Why am I not getting a nav? I want to go to nav. Ah, alright. Flying on my own.
Skyhawk 734, Quebec Foxtrot.
Yeah, it's got us going to Fafui, which I don't want.
Left downwind, run 22, touch and go. Tower 4, Quebec Foxtrot, runway 22, clear touch and go. Clear touch and go. Skyhawk 734, Quebec Foxtrot.
That'll get us to Acapulco. Alright, flight director's working now. I'm hand flying, but the autopilot is doing all the calculations of where I should go. So it's going to level us at 2700. And it's going to get us on this course to Acapulco. There's my highway in the sky boxes. I see, it's using the altitude, it's using my target altitude for its altitude, that makes sense. So it's going to level us at 2700. There we go. It's a shame you really can't see what's going on with the SkyView. I'll take a picture and see if I can stuff it into the video later. I'm not going to want to do a lot of that. Keep your eyes open on a hazy day like this. Okay, so that's got us on course to Acapulco. All I got to do is follow these purple little rectangles. And that should then turn us towards the runway. And at Acapulco, that's when we want to start our descent down to eventually being 1740. So I'll set that 1740 once we get to Acapulco. I'll actually set it to 17, or probably 1800, because I don't think I can do 1740. And we'll go over to Unicom. We're out of his airspace now. Bolton's airspace.
Double down traffic, 580 downwind, 23.
Madison County traffic, AMP 10, from base runway 27.
Something, Madison County.
Approaching waypoint.
They're speaking up. I don't think I'm going to get the glide slope thing. There must be something else I have to do, because it's not showing up. Now, I don't really need it, but it's a nice to have, and I do want to know how to make it work. There's my turn. And so now we're going to make our altitude 1800. Down. Now what it's going to do now is take me down at 500 per minute, which isn't necessarily what I want, to be on that 3-degree glide slope. Now, since I would only ever be flying a non-precision approach anyway, unless I was to go out and buy an ILS and capable NAVCOM, that's the way it's done anyway. You're really just making descent on your own. As long as I don't go below
Traffic, AMP 10,
2700 at, oh, we should have been at 3000. All right, we want 2700 at FOFB, so I misread that. So we're going to get our altitude back up to 2700. Okay, until we cross FOFB. Really should be at 3000 right now on a true instrument approach. Out here it's so flat it doesn't matter. But we would have wanted to be, no, okay, it's 2700, 3000 at Acapulco. You can start descending as low as 2700 before FOFB. And we're already at 2700, so we're going to stay there. I can see the runway and I don't see any traffic, but it is kind of murky. Definitely keep an eye out for that. I wonder if having these additional waypoints between me and the runway might have something to do with not getting that glide slope indicator. If it just starts at a certain number of miles out, unless you have some kind of other waypoint in place, who knows. We do have traffic 300 feet above us, 6 miles away. He's going to pass off to our right. Keep an eye out for him, make sure he doesn't make any turns. And we have 2.7 to Fafui. At Fafui, I can start a descent down to 1740, but which in my case is going to be 1800. So now I'll go ahead and dial that in again. I can hold the 2700 on my own, or I can remember it that long. And that's going to be a down. So now we're flying without direction or altitude reference to the flight director, but that's okay. Easy to do. And there's our traffic is 4.5 miles, 100 feet above us. I'm gonna pass about 4 miles off our wing, so not a factor, unless he turns. No sight on him, I just can't see him at all. We're 40 feet low ahead of Fafui, so it'd be enough to bust a check ride. And, you know, maybe hit a mountain or whatever.
Approaching waypoint.
Alright, it's good to know. And that's when we can head down to 1800 at our own pace. Oh, I'm not on the...
Middletown traffic, Cessna 51580, downwind runway.
I'm not using the EFIS screen, which could potentially have something to do with that glide slope thing. I might have to be using the, let's see, PFD mode. This. There. Nope. Still not there. But now I can start following the glide, the flight director again, as for altitude reference. And we really want to get down to that 1800.
Middletown traffic, Cessna 51580, base for 23, Middletown traffic.
And we got 1.4 to Jadmu, which is where I wanted to be down to 1800, and we may still make it. I'm getting back down into the little rectangles. Those are showing me the glide slope, even though it's not the 3 degree, it's the normal 500 foot per minute descent, which doesn't guarantee that it would take me to the airport, really, so figure out what's going on with that. There we go, I'm back in the squares, and I'm at 1800. So this is where we would level off, and just wait for the runway to appear below us. I could go to 1740, I'm at 1780 right now, and that leaves me a nice pad. And boxes, the little highway in the sky is still guiding me pretty well. We're 2 mile final.
Madison County traffic, experimental 284 Delta Golf, 2 mile final, runway 27, stop and go, Madison County.
And I'm gonna slow down to flap speed. And here comes Jadmu. There's 1740 at Jadmu. And we're inside of Jadmu. So now it's, the rule would be if I can see the runway, I can start an approach down to it. We're on the glide slope. I can see that from the VASI lights, even though the SkyView is not telling me. So this would be just a normal kind of a, as long as I had about 2 miles of visibility, which I think the minimums are actually more than that anyway. Well, 1.25 miles. So we'd be looking for the airport. All right, let's get the flaps down and prepare for landing. Notch 1, notch 2, and we go to takeoff trim. That holds a really nice glide angle.
Madison County traffic, 4 Delta Golf, final, 27, stop and go, Madison County.
Beautiful approach, right on glide slope. Got a crosswind from the right, which we're correcting. Now this is going to cycle to having no guidance at all once we go around. So once we do go around, I'll probably set it for Urbana. We'll do another one up there. Get up high somewhere. I can fiddle around with adding waypoints and such forth. Okay, a little gusty down here. Oopie. Bumps. Okay, let's get the nose straight. A wing down, there we go. Well, it's a little choppy down here. A little choppy. There we go. Rather smooth touchdown though. Say so myself. And as far as that stop and go, it's really just gonna be a touch and go. There we go. Boy, it's gusty. There we go. Some air across it. Get some air across the rudder and that'll help out quite a bit. There we go. Alright, so missed approach procedure on this is basically straight ahead until Fenlue. So we'll climb to 3,000 going straight ahead, and from there we'll switch to a different, we'll set up the GPS for something else. Let's make her out to 3,000. Up. And let's just set our course to straight ahead and put ourselves on heading mode. And let's go ahead and turn on the autopilot. Autopilot is tracking 280 degrees and climbing 600 foot per minute with altitude, sorry about that, of 3,000 feet. So we don't really want to spend a lot of time looking down even yet. We're close to an airport and people could be coming into the airport. But I do know the first thing I want to do is add a destination waypoint of IJMIN. IJMIN. So let's go to map menu. Go ahead and add a new point. No, that's not what we want. Flight plan. Let's add a waypoint, which I've already forgotten the name of. IJMIN.
Altitude.
Thank you. This is hard to do when it's bouncy. Come on, hands. There it is. Insert that bad boy.
Approaching waypoint.
And we're direct to that. And map. There we go. Alright. That done, and with the autopilot in control, which we're going to kind of monitor for a minute, make sure it really is. We'll tell as soon as it rolls out on course here. I'll know it's doing what I need it to do. Okay, good. Now next from there is going to be HIRID.
Middletown traffic, Cessna 51580, crosswind runway 23, Middletown traffic. County traffic, Seneca County traffic, aircraft 96834, 10 miles to the south. Be entering downwind runway 24, full stop.
There we go. And we'll want to navigate. I assume it's going to go to automatically cycle to the next one. And we want to get there at 3,000 feet. And from there we want to stay at 3,000 feet until Lekne. And at Lekne, we can start our descent to 1,700, and we want to be there before OQO.
Downwind runway 23, Middletown traffic.
OWE. There it is. Insert. Insert. All right, we're all set. So back to the map. There we go. slow down a little bit. We're not in any kind of hurry at all, and we can start monitoring the Unicom. Actually, we get their AWAS at 118. 325.
Urbana Municipal Airport.
Oh, timed that perfectly.
Automated weather observation. 1604 Zulu. Weather. Wind 310 at 8. Visibility 10. Ceiling 2,000.
We probably wanted runway 2.
Broken. Temperature 12.
That's all right, we won't land.
2.5.
Or we can circle.
Altimeter 3002.
3002 on the altimeter. Okay. I'm alternating between hot and cold here.
Field 0.
Okay. 13 minutes until we get there. Has to do with kind of a headwind. Quite a bit of a headwind. What time is it? I didn't bring a watch. Hey Siri, what time is it? Siri's deaf in the airplane. It's noon. Okay. Sounds like we could stop for lunch. Got a text. This is nice. Found a better coupon for Hatfield Hyundai. $75 off of over $200. Good. Having all the brakes replaced in our SUV. All the brake pads. I've started pulling a camper with it. It eats up those brakes in a hurry. And that's kind of pricey work. Surprisingly. It's not hard to replace pads, but they insist on replacing rotors too. Maybe. I don't remember having to do that in the past, years and years and years ago, but these days, everything's throwaway. So, $75 off won't hurt. Who cares, right? I'm a boring guy. Alright, well, we can go back to hand flying a bit.
Autopilot, disconnect.
We'll just follow this highway thing. I don't know if the highway corrects for the wind. I guess it does. Ground track would make more sense than just about anything else. The flight director, on the other hand, seems to disagree. The flight director wants me over here, but you see what that does? I think the boxes must be actual course and not ground track, and which makes them kind of useless, really. I wouldn't want. I don't want to have to figure out a correction angle to stay in those boxes. Those should just tell me where to go. If I'm understanding what's happening here correctly, there's always some question about that.
So for traffic Grumman, this is Golf Tango, going to enter a left downwind, 21 full top.
Alright, so we're going all the way up to runway 20 and approaching 20. Don't really want to because the runway favors runway 2. But that's still okay. We're not going to fly it down all the way down. Actually, all we're doing today is just really getting a handle on hand flying again. Wow. Not a bad approach. Circling 601, okay. Well, we'll just do that at pattern altitude. Man, there's our intended path. It's kind of wacky looking. I'll grab you guys a picture of that and stuff that in later too. Actually, it might be interesting to let the autopilot go ahead and fly it. Let's do that. Autopilot, why don't you fly it for us and see what happens? I'll have to fly the altitude, of course, but it can do the rest. So let's see how that works out. I'm confident in its abilities. And what we'll do is this is like 5 or 7 miles away from the runway. And that's a fine place to break away and move into a more appropriate left downwind for runway 2.
0632, left downwind, runway 1, check.
Could also change to Ye-Gut instead of, we could go to Ye-Gut instead of Idgeman. And I wonder if I can do that. Let's try that, because that's going to require editing a waypoint in flight. I want to go to Idgeman, and I want to, see, edit? Can I edit it? No. guess I just have to remove it. And then we'll insert another one. And that's going to be YEGUT. Yankee Echo boy. Golf. There it is. Insert. Insert. And we're direct to that. There we go. Make it so. Interesting. We are not changing direction. I made that a direct to. What's the map look like? Map knows. Alright, nav off, nav on.
Disconnect.
And now it'll do it. That's interesting. It actually won't absorb or accept the new waypoint without turning off and, or basically turning off and turning on or restarting the nav mode. And that's good to know. So that was a change on the fly. That's a handy little thing to know how to do. I'm proud of myself. If I wasn't old and stiff and feeble, I'd pat myself on the back right now. I remind myself it's a work day. Not everybody can be out flying around. That's why it's so nice and quiet out here. The autopilot is ignoring the little rectangles in the sky and has calculated a wind correction angle. So it looks like the highway in the sky thing is based mostly on course, not ground track. Also good to know. And really, I don't really need it. The flight director, I think, now the flight director seems to be following ground track. So that's what you want anyway. The ground correction angle is of academic interest only, if that. Really, all I care about is how I'm getting across the ground. So. Another thing I could try is setting up this, the next one, the iRid as a VOR, a fake VOR, and use an OBS to intercept it. And I think the way I would do that is iRid and hold direct to for 1000, 2000. There's OBS mode. And now, of course, it's going to center on it. So really, if I really wanted to intercept it, I would have to set heading ground track mode. So let's turn that back off. I'll play with that on the way back. There we go, and we want to go back to, I still want to be going to Yeagat, so direct to back to Yeagat, and I'm back to the map. I was getting nervous about the bank angle on this. It really, it turns enthusiastically. I just want to make sure it's going to, stop at some still recoverable angle of bank. All right, we're back to our original, well, not original, our secondary plan of Yeagat. And we'll let the autopilot take up from here. Now going back, I will treat Bolton Field as if it has a VOR, and I'll pick an intercept radial, and I'll fly a heading to that radial and let it intercept. And that'll be a neat little thing also. Actually, I'll probably use Lily Chapel for that, since that's a nice reporting point. It's a grain elevator, small town with a grain elevator just outside of Bolton's airspace. I'll go to that. And then I can track that outbound. I can track that radial outbound to the runway.
Card 32. 5 miles to the west of the field, will be approaching in for a 45 to downwind for runway 26.
Okay, right, brothers. I knew it wasn't Urbana, but I'm curious about where it was. Okay, you do go way out of your way on these instrument approaches. I guess they're set up for much faster airplanes than RB-12s. But as the law has changed, and I don't need a medical anymore, I can get instrument current again. So I thought I'd come out and practice. Back when I was instrument current, I couldn't do IFR approaches or GPS IFR approaches. I still can't. This is not an approach certified GPS. I can replace this with a Navcom that will give me approach certified, by definition, VORs and ILS, and just use it'll integrate with this. I'll be able to see it just like I see it now, but I'll be able to use this as pictorial guidance while the radio remains the primary guidance, so I'll be legal for VFR.
Approaching waypoint.
Increases your maintenance costs, not so much as it would if I had an IFR approach certified GPS, because I'd be buying map updates, but map updates from Dynon are free. And you don't buy database updates for a Navcom radio, they're fixed on the Earth. Although it does have a database in it and it can be updated, I don't think they charge for that. But your pitot-static test, every 2 years your pitot-static test, right now it's already expensive, it's about $280. For IFR it gets closer to $400 or $500, which is unfortunate. But offset by not incurring the cost of a medical every 2 years.
Marine Airport traffic, part 32, 45.
Okay, made that turn quite nicely. Now as a refresher, we're going to make another 90-degree turn at HRID, and that we will keep 3,000 feet until the final approach fix of Lackney, at which point we want to descend within the space of 4 miles.
Urbana traffic, Care Flight 3, single helicopter taking off from the Care Flight pad to the northwest for St. Mary's. Urbana traffic.
All right, northwest is actually where we're headed, so at best he'd be parallel with us, and he'll be gone by the time I get there. So we have 4 miles to get down to 1,700 feet, 500 foot per minute will do close to that. 600 feet is more likely going to be the what I'm looking for, until I can figure out how to make the glide slope thing work.
Urbana traffic, this is Cessna 1265 Quebec. We're about 5 miles east of Rosewood. We're going to be doing an approach and back to Urbana, and we're at 2,800 feet.
You going runway 2 or 20?
Urbana traffic, you have Care Flight 3, single helicopter, 1,400, climbing for 1,800, about 2 miles to the northeast of the field, continuing northeast.
Traffic approaching Urbana from Rosewood VOR. Are you planning a runway 2 approach or runway 20 approach?
Roger, we're going to take the VOR approach back to Urbana, fly over the top, and then get into a heading, probably a left downwind for runway 20.
And 24 Delta Golf, copy. I'm about 12 miles east, and I'm going to be heading towards the runway.
Roger, we'll let you know where we're headed back. 65 Quebec, thank you.
Okay, here comes our turn at HRID. HRID, I don't know, doesn't matter.
Urbana traffic, Care Flight 3, we're now clear to the northwest at 5 miles. Recommend approaches in a 0-2 direction due to winds. Winds are about 11 to 12 knots from roughly about a 330.
Roger, we'll land with runway 20, or I'm sorry, 02. Thank you. 65 Quebec.
Urbana traffic for Delta Golf is 9 miles northeast. Flying basically an extended center line from runway 202. We'll enter a left downwind runway 02.
Great Tommy, amp 20, departing the pattern to the east.
Marine Airport, part 32, left downwind, runway 26, Marine.
All right, 5 miles to Lackney. Everything going fine. Now we'll coordinate. It's good that guy's talking, so he'll be coming in from Rosewood. And that is out here somewhere. where the hell is it? Up here. So he'll be coming in from our right to left and he'll just cross over the airport. So he is going to cut through at some point our downwind, whether before or after we get there, and I should be able to see him on the traffic at some point. Hopefully on the GIS I'll see him. If not, we'll just coordinate with him.
Flying Airpark 432 left base runway 2.
Don't really see anybody out here right now on the TIS, so it's probably not going to end up being much help. Should be able to see it by now. Alright, we're going to want to make our altitude 1,700 feet. Let's go ahead and dial that in. We don't have to start down yet. Just tell it that's what we're going to want.
Traffic, Warrior 2 here, Bravo Golf, about 10 to the west, and down in the mirror alpha will be low approach on Fostoria.
Fostoria, okay. See the runway. And at Likey, I'm going to introduce the descent to 1,700 feet, and I'm also going to break off of the center line of the runway and move up to the side, off to the right, so we'll be set up for a left downwind for runway 2, as advertised. So let's slow down. Slow down in preparation for going down.
Approaching waypoint.
Alrighty. Begin our descent, and we wanted 600 foot per minute. Descent, there we go. Down. Oops, that's 700 foot per minute. There we go. Alright, and now we're going to go to heading mode. And heading, and break us off to the right. Managing the throttle, managing the airspeed, managing the course. And I'm just going to set us up for a left downwind. Runway 02. We can go direct Urbana at this point, or we just turn off the nav, doesn't matter. We just ignore it. Airport's in sight. Don't need it. Now that little blue bar, you may not be able to see that little light blue turquoise arc. That tells me when I'm going to get at 1,700 feet. And right now, it's creeping a little bit towards us, away from where we want it, which is right on Owego. So I'm going to give us a little juice, or I can turn up our vertical speed a little bit. There we go. Don't want to go faster. Okay, we can turn our track back.
Pickwick County traffic, Cheyenne 2365 Victor, just out of Ross County. Be landing runway 15 at Pickwick.
Fostoria traffic, 280 Bravo Golf is 5 to the west, and down on the mirror alpha will be low approach.
Urbana Triumph traffic for Delta Golf is 2 miles northeast, inbound for a left downwind runway 02, Urbana Grimes.
Traffic 10 miles east for initial runway 25.
And we're just going to hand fly from here. I don't want to go all the way down to 1,700 this far out. There's no point. Let's maintain some ability to glide. I still don't see our traffic anywhere. I don't see any traffic anywhere. No. Hurry up, ADSB 2020.
County traffic, Cheyenne 2369 Victor, downwind 19.
kind of hate a runway that's 20 and 02. I guess 50 and, well, that doesn't really happen. 30 and 03 would be the same way. Easily confused. Oh, can that happen? I guess it can. Never mind. Yeah, it can. No. That really can't happen. I think it's just 02 and 20.
Urbana Grimes traffic, instrumental 284 Delta Golf. Left downwind runway 02, Urbana Grimes.
There's a B-25 parked down there. How cute. I like the B-25. Okay, let's get it slowed down for flapsies.
For left downwind runway 25, departing pattern east to base.
Victor County, Cheyenne 2365 Victor is final. Is on base to final for 19.
Here come the flaps. Kabok, kabok. And the trim. The zippity doo-dah. The sound trim makes, electric trim makes a zippity doo-dah sound. Hey, there's
Green County traffic, AMP 22, 4 miles out, 45 to initial, runway 25, Green County.
going to be a crosswind from the left, or right to left, so I don't want to get too close to the runway. I'm going to have a kind of a curtailed base leg.
Grimes traffic, 4 Delta Golf. Left base runway 02, full stop Grimes traffic.
And we're way high. Way high. This is likely to not work out.
Green County traffic, AMP 22, 3 mile initial, runway 25, Green County.
We aren't going to make this. Way too high.
And Delaware traffic down to 454 Kilo Charlie, 10 miles to the north-northeast, northern tip of the Delaware Lake. We're going to be doing maneuvers at 2,700 feet, Delaware.
Urbana Grimes traffic, 284 Delta Golf. Going around, left traffic, runway 02.
That was hideous. But this is why we practice.
Attitude.
Call me Mr. Go Around. Okay, we'll extend that downwind a little bit better this time.
Green County traffic, AMP 22, left base.
And let's get a little further out on downwind, a little further out, so I got a little more time on base leg to get things figured out. That's more like it. Well, even at full slip, I couldn't get that down. RV6 would have done that. That thing would come down like very, very, very quickly. This one, not so much. Even at full slip, just wasn't going to be able to get that down there. Not safely, anyway.
County traffic, AMP 12's downwind departure to the east, last call, Green County.
Yeah, that's better. Yeah, it looks more approachable. It cracked me up. I really do.
Urbana Grimes traffic, experimental tweet 4 Delta Golf, left base runway 02, full stop Urbana Grimes.
forgotten how ground shy this airplane is. Still kind of high. Huh.
Moving altitude.
That's going to take runway 25 for downwind departure to the north.
There we go. Phew, it's like hot or cold in this thing. Yep, much more approachable. Crosswind from the other side. Practice both today, right and left. Whoa, boy. Lots of little bumpies there. Right when you're trying to beat this. Oh boy, big downdraft there. Oh my goodness. Jeepers. All kinds of activity there. Whew. Okay. Alright, we're done with lunch. Just back to bolt now. And we'll look at clearing out the flight plan and starting a new one. Of course it's current. Oh, that's the charts. I don't use the charts. So yeah, of course it's current. I just updated it. Map. Thank you. Okay. So let's clear out our flight plan. Clear flight plan. Okay. And we're going to go to Lily Chapel. And I have that in there as a user waypoint, I think. Let's see if I can find it. Might be an easier way to do that. That's the wrong direction. It's going to be down this way. Where are ya? And Springfield, we got to go back this way. If that's Springfield, there's Ugly Young Farmer. Lily Chapel, there it is. Now, in theory, there's a nice RV4 coming in. I should be able to go to Lily. Or actually, let's just use Bolt. Let's go to Bolt. And on top of that, do a direct to, hold it for 2 seconds. And that should have put me in OBS mode, but it did not. That's something wrong. Go ahead and add it to the flight plan. And maybe here I can go direct to, hold it for 2 seconds. There's my OBS mode. Okay, now really I'd like to be able to see the map while I'm setting this. This is kind of goofy. And I think I'd probably have to go to OBS on this, or course, or something like that. Yeah, that's drifted it away. Okay. Now if there was some particular radio I wanted to be on, and there is, if I can find... There, that'll help. There, now it's turning it around. Okay, so we're coming off a TZR, and we want to intercept it at Lily. So there, that will intercept it at Lily. So that's my direct to. Now is that actually working? I want to get this back to the airplane. There we go. And I want to go direct Lily. Ooh, that's going to cause a problem because it's going to want to go straight to, well, I'll use heading mode for that. Alright, so let's set our heading. Heading. Got a knob for that, don't we? There we do. Alright, let's zoom out where I can see that course. Lily Chapel. Where's Lily? Where are you, Lily? There's TZR. I'm getting too far. Oh, Lily is right there. So I was using this to set the OD in. There we go. Lily right there. So I want to take my heading. Here's what I want to do. I want to take my heading and put it right on top of Lily. Okay, and that we will navigate by heading.
Urbana traffic, Baron 67 Echo Romeo is about 3 mile final for 02.
We'll take that heading, and that will intercept that OBS into Bolton Field, in theory. Okay? So what that means is I'm going to fly directly at that blue little thingy there until that bar centers into CDI, and that will line us up with Bolton Field, pretending it's VOR. Alright, I believe the weather is still favoring runway 02. windsock. It looks like a crosswind. It doesn't really matter. So that's the way we came in. That's the way that other guy was coming in or going out, one or the other. Anyway, so we'll go down there to 02. Now get you a look at that nice RV4. Look at that. Isn't that a cute little thing? I wanted an RV4. I ended up with an RV6 because nobody wanted to ride in the back seat of an RV4, which is actually a legitimate complaint. But I do love it as a pilot, sitting on the center line like that. It's like a little fighter. It's much nicer for aerobatics to sit on the center line. But there was nothing wrong with the RV6 at all. It was great to have that second seat for the flight instructor while I was trying to learn how to land the tail dragger. And it was always nicer to have passengers sitting next to you than behind you. They liked it a lot better. Not having to look at the back of my head. Never seen the back of my head, but I can't imagine it's any prettier than the front of my head. That big twin landing out there. Like a Baron. I wonder where they moved the oh, they moved the outside air temperature there to 58 degrees. Not as prominent, harder to find. 58, kind of warm in here for 58. I don't think my heater door is fully closing. I have to get in there and work on that. A horrible, horrible design. Doesn't work very well at all. Well, it'll almost always provide heat. What you can't do is get it to close all the way to stop providing heat during the 75% of the year when you don't want it. I'll have to get in the middle with it. It's just a flexible cable that routes down across the bottom of the engine and makes kind of an awkward angled push where it's easier just for the cable to bow. Little yellow circle, I don't know what that is. The tiny little yellow circle there. Something new, perhaps. Now we failed to do a run-up back on the ramp, and you're not allowed to do them out here. That's okay. You can do a mag check without running the engine all the way up. As a matter of fact, it'd probably be even more startling to have a mag problem at low idle like this than up to 4,000 RPM. It'd run really rough. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And yeah, that's still good. You'd definitely be able to go. Now that one's a little rougher right there. See, that's a little rougher than the other side. It's still within limits. Yeah, they're both kind of rough. It is idle. Okay. Alright, we are set. We have our heading set right there. And we're going to use that to intercept the VOR at Kilo Tango Zulu Romeo. And we are ready to go. So let's do our end of runway check. Let's check the canopy latch again. Never check the canopy latch too many times. We can go ahead and get ready for bolt tower. We're not going to listen to anything else on the way. That's 28.1. We're on Unicom. There's nothing in the pattern that I can see. With the wind being what it is, it could come from either direction, so we do really want to take a good long look around. I don't see a thing.
Urbana driver traffic, experimental 284 Delta Golf, departing runway 02, and we'll be departing to the east.
We have a grass runway here, which is nice when it's mowed. Problem is I never know if it's mowed or not. It doesn't look it. I can see the tops of the dandelions. Okay, here we go. Crosswind from the left. Bumpy, bumpy, bumpy. I had an invitation to fly down to Jackson County tonight for dinner. I don't know if I'm going to want to do it. It's a bit choppy. And having been out flying for a couple hours already, it's probably not going to be popular at home either. Can't get my temperature steady. Alright, let's go ahead and turn on heading. And we can actually let the autopilot do some work if we choose to. We would dial that up to about $3 grand. Up to, going the wrong way, 3,000 feet. Boy, that moves fast. 3,000 feet. And point ourselves at the heading. And tell the autopilot on heading, autopilot, altitude, up. And then as heading of 140 degrees, climbing at a vertical speed of 600 foot per minute to an altitude of 3,000 feet. Confirm, confirm, confirm. And now we're just looking for traffic. We do have some. This guy is always outside our 5 mile window and he's 2,500 feet above us, so not too worried about him. Now we just have to wait for this little bar right here. I'll insert a picture for you. Let me take a look around before I'm going to be heads down for a second here. Okay. No, Siri, you really can't help me with anything right now. Okay, so I'm going to picture this thing for you. I'll stuff it in there. What we want to do is that little segment that is broken away from the purple bar, we want to fly towards the purple bar, and that segment is going to come down and eventually fit right in and make a contiguous, solid contiguous line, at which point we're going to turn the airplane until that line is straight up and down. And for as long as that line is straight up and down, or with the correct wind correction, which will be over here, the ground track, there may be a little angle on it, but the whole point is you'll know in a zero wind condition, if you left that bar straight up and down, as you drifted off course, it would separate again. And if the bar was off to the right, we would turn to the right to get intercepted again, and we'd go back straight up and down. With any level of crosswind, it's going to be off to the side, and basically you just monitor the position of that internal segment to keep it as one single contiguous line, and that'll get you where you're going. Now this is nice. You wouldn't have this on an older airplane with a real VOR. You wouldn't have this indication of where we're going to intercept that line. You would just have to drive along paying attention and waiting for that segment to move. We will be able to see well in advance that we're getting towards it. I'm going to take us off to the west a little bit more on our heading to get us over Lily Chapel, because there is some wind to deal with. And we'll just monitor that, and once that lines up, we'll turn directly towards Bolt. That's also where we'll call the tower and get our landing instructions. I'm going to stay on Unicom because we're still near Urbana, but eventually I'm going to transfer over to Bolton Tower because I'm going to want to monitor it before we get there and find out what's going on in the pattern. I doubt if much of anything is going on. We do see traffic again, so we do know the traffic is working. It didn't do anything to show us that other Cessna, or that Cessna on the way into Urbana, but it's working now. And it's a mystery. Now we do have traffic. Duck in and look at this. He's 7 or 8 miles out. Not 8 miles out, 6 or 7 miles out, crossing right to left on an angle 400 feet below us. Not a factor. We'll leave it on there anyway, just because it's they can turn. They can turn anytime they want. So we keep an eye on them. And there's no guarantee. An absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. There are airplanes, or can be airplanes out there that we simply can't see because they're not well-equipped airplanes yet. They will be in 3 more years. But for now, you just have to keep an eye out for them. Now we're scooting right along. We actually have a fairly decent tailwind now. So we're indicating 100, 101 knots. We're doing 118 across the ground, 119 across the ground. So 125, 126 miles per hour. That's a good speed. Now what I'll have to do, I'm not getting any GPS guidance right now per se. I'm flying a heading that is the heading I wanted. As long as I have that the airport set up as a fake VOR that's my only navigation. I'm no longer navigating via GPS. It knows my ground track basically, but it's not going to do any steering for me. Now I can tell it I want to intercept that. So what I can do, now this will probably, what it should do, because we're this far out, is I can go to nav mode, and it won't do anything until we get to the nav line. Then it'll make its turn by itself. And this far out, it should intercept at whatever angle I set this heading at, rather than making a turn hard at that line and then going straight at it. It should use the intercept angle that I've got set for it. So let's try that. Let's turn on nav. And we should just keep going straight ahead, in theory, until we reach that line, and it'll intercept by itself. Okay, so right there it says I'm going to fly heading 141, which is somewhere around where I had my heading set. It's going to go by ground track now, so it's going to go directly to it. So I had that set for 141. It's going to hold heading 141 until it intercepts the GPS, and that's exactly what we wanted to do. Now, if I wanted to get to that sooner, I could just change the heading over a little bit, and it'll go ahead and it'll move us over a bit to the right and take a shorter line to get to that nav course. It's really up to me where I want to intercept that. So it's just going to fly 145 degrees. So had I been on vectors and they vectored me, hey, fly heading 145, intercept the localizer, radial, whatever it is, I didn't look. It's somewhere around 090. And it would just fly right to that and intercept it. If we were close enough to it, within a mile or two, it would have made a hard turn directly to the course line and got us right back on that course line, because it sees that as a minor correction and not really a situation where you would be vectored to that radial. From that close, you're probably just off course, so it does its best to get you back on course quickly. And I'm not sure exactly what that range is. It's a mile or two at least. I'm not sure what it is. But this is a very handy way to be able to do this. Now the nice thing, I've offset it a little bit so we'll reach it at 3,000 feet before Lily. And if we were to assume at Lily we wanted to start a descent, which we probably do down to about 2,500 feet, I really wouldn't want to do that descent the same time the autopilot is trying to do that turn. There's a lot of things going on all at once, and the autopilot is capable of it, but I don't have enough faith in it, or I find it that I really have to, I might as well hand fly it, because I just don't trust it when it gets into it. Nose down, wings down, all kinds of things happening all at once. Throttle needs change. I would rather get on course about a mile before I start the descent. So that's what I've done with that. And I'll get you, it'll be around, right? Get you another.
We're about 10 miles northwest of the sailor, inbound for landing.
Another, damn it. Another picture of that. I tell you, as soon as I pick anything up, the weather gets rough. I can't hold the thing still. Good Lord, this is ridiculous. There, I got you one. Man. That's wind causing this. This bumpiness is wind. In the deep, when we get into the summer and you're down low like this across these fields, particularly when they're different colors like this, you still have the brown fields and you got some green fields, you get a lot of thermal activity. It causes a lot of bumping. That's not happening today. This is all just tumultuous wind. It's 18 knot wind up here, and it's relatively flat out here. There's not a whole lot to get it worked up, but I don't know if we've got, turbulence in front of a front or some kind of goofy stuff like that, but it's a little bumpier than you would expect. Now see, here I can, but as soon as I pick up that phone, try to take a picture there, see? Even simulating it. See, right now I'm fine. Now I'm ready to take a picture. And just a few bumps. What happens if I pick it up now? Yeah, see, that's perfect now.
Queen County Traffic Warrior, November 8, 5 Whiskey. Approaching runway 25.
Go ahead and start listening to Bolton now. And what we'll want after Bolton Tower is Bolton ground, so we'll dial that in. So I don't have to fiddle around with it on the runway. One thing it doesn't tell me is distance to that line. Distance to intercept the course. That's interesting. It doesn't, it knows it just doesn't present it anywhere. And I guess it would be useful. I don't know. That's crowded. Screen get a little crowded maybe. But I got traffic. He was on here a second. He disappeared. I see him. I think it's Highway Patrol. or somebody turning left base to final at Madison County, because we're right over the top of Madison County. We're way above it, but we're right over the top of it. So I think that's somebody turning the land on runway 27. There's one on the runway already, just off, and then this guy turning in behind him. So a busy day at Madison County. There he's on the traffic now. There he is, yep, turning final just as we go over. And the other guy is making a left crosswind. He's off the runway. Doesn't sound like there's much going on at the home base. Haven't heard a peep. There's a 9-hole golf course that I didn't know about. Wonder what that is. Not that I golf. Alright, looks like a couple miles. We will make our intercept. And at that point, let's see what it does. I don't think it's going to take me on a direct to. Well, effectively it is. It's going to fly that radial directly to Bolton. So effectively it's a direct to. It's just slightly different way of doing it. So it should take me right to the airport. Oh, I know why the ILS didn't work. I didn't select a runway. I would have to go into map. Nope, I'd have to go into flight plan, info, and select a runway, and I bet they're on 22. So I'm going to select runway. No, that's not how you do it. How do you do it there? I'm going to select runway 22. There we go. Now that might give me the little flight slope indicator. Let's see what that does. Now we do have traffic now. 600 feet below us, traveling roughly in parallel, and looks to be about 2 miles away. Now he's potentially flying into Bolton. He's climbing. He's now 500 feet below us. I don't like it when they're behind me and I can't see him because it may be faster than me. And if he doesn't see me, he could fly right into my back end. Oh, he's turning away. That's nice. That's probably how I would. That guy still, he may be flying the pattern in Madison County or might be Highway Patrol. We are doing our intercept. We're turning on course. And I'll give the tower a call here and see if we get runway 22 or not. If we do, that'll give us a chance to see if that glide slope thing picks up. Yep, we turned on course. And now it's flying GPS. So it says nothing at all about any headings or radials or anything. It's just flying me to TZR. Although, I suspect if I changed that radial, that would change my course and it would follow that. I got 2 minutes to something here. That's new. Not sure what it means. 2 minutes to where I start my descent, maybe? I really don't know. That's brand new, and I'm going to take a picture of that right quick before it disappears because I want to look that up when I get home. See what that means. 3 tries because it's bumpy just as soon as I try to push. Oh, for hell with it. Ridiculous.
Bolton Tower, experimental 284 Delta Golf, over Lily Chapel, inbound landing.
284 Delta Golf, Bolton Tower, reporting midfield right downwind to runway 22, wind 280 at 7, altimeter is 3001.
Report midfield right downwind, runway 22, 4 Delta Golf.
3001 on the altimeter. 1 minute to something, presumably, maybe it's the descent or something, although descending into the pattern, well, there's 7.5 to go on. I don't know why I'd want to descend. I can handle the descent into, well, maybe that's what it's doing, is set me up to descend into the downwind, which would kind of make sense, and we're going to do it, so we're just going to set our altitude down to 2100 or 2200, down we go. to find out what this is. This is brand new. I have no idea what that is. As I've said, I'm repeating myself at this point.
Approaching altitude.
And 2500 will do fine out here. We're still 5.5 miles out. No sense getting down really low. It'll get bumpier, and should I need to glide, I will have less altitude in the bank. And I mean, there's just no reason to go any lower. Oh, I set it to 2300. Why did we stop at 25? Well, I set it at 23. There we go. That's 600 above pattern altitude. Less than 1 minute to, now I'm inside. Oh, that's time till I got into their airspace, which is a Class D. And now it's 3 minutes. I'm inside the Class D, and I'm 3 minutes away from the Class C. Oh, that's really neat. Okay, that makes perfect sense. That's quite useful. Oh, God. Come on! There. Okay, we're hand flying from here. We're going to continue our descent now down to pattern altitude. We're only 3 miles out, 2.5 miles out. I believe I was supposed to report a midfield right now in for 2-2. We'll find out. I'm very certain of that, actually.
Moving altitude.
Yard looks nice from here. You get down close to it, you can see where the guy that puts down the weed killer missed great gigantic patches of dandelion. That was money poorly spent.
And both tower approach up to Gulf midfield right now in 2-2.
We're going to forward down the Gulf for runway 22, clear to land.
Clear land runway 22, forward up the Gulf.
I'm trying to talk a little bit slower this year. I do talk too fast on the radio. There's times when that's important, but they're seldom, they're rare. Okay, let's got our trim set, flaps down. There's not much else to do. There's no mixture to mess with or carb heat or anything like that. Single power lever. And I don't want that wind creeping me in closer to the runway. I have that same problem with not being able to get any kind of decent descent on base. Now over to the Hyundai dealer, I can see my $800 worth of new brakes from here. $725, got a coupon. Let's extend this out here. Where are we? Okay. Generally go out to about the lows. My base leg over the lows. There's the Walmart. Here comes the Lowe's. That wind is really whistling us through this turn, so we're just gonna keep on turning. Not gonna straighten out at all. We'll turn right on the final. Perfect. Nicely done. Now we're still gonna overshoot a little bit. That's okay. I'm not gonna. Yeah, see that? We overshot that significantly. But what we don't want to do is chase it. We don't want to dump into like a 70-degree angle of bank trying to force that turn. That's how people die. And it's easy enough to correct. It was sloppy to get that far off, but it's not worth any kind of aerobatics or anything to get back on it. Okay. Oh, crosswind from the right. We're really mixing it up today. Oh, there's a big lift right there. Big lift. Probably be a big sinkhole right here over the grass. Let's straighten it out. A little bit of right wing down to hold it. Really kind of dancing here. You're quite busy. Okay, here we go. Flare. Easy. You hold it off, hold it off, hold it off. There it is. It is down. Smooth as glass. Right turn Alpha 3. Alpha 3 is going away. If they can get the funding towards the end of the year, they're going to take Alpha 3 out. And because FAA rightly thinks it's dangerous for a ramp to go directly into a runway. I got no argument for me.
Terminal 4 Delta Golf, exit Alpha 3, taxi parking via Alpha and Bravo to the hangars.
Alpha 3, Alpha Bravo to parking 4 Delta Golf.
If they can get the funding towards the end of the year, they're going to take Alpha 3 out. And because FAA rightly thinks it's dangerous for a ramp